y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shamika and this is Check the Rhymes. I am super excited that you're here. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Now y'all know I love my old school artists, especially from the 90s. And I am super excited about today's guest. Special Generation is in the house, y'all. And I know that's a name y'all ain't heard in a minute. You may remember them from the early 90s with hits like Spark of Love, because I know I wore that thing out. Anyway, stay tuned. You don't want to miss today's show. Welcome to Check the Rhymes, Special Generation. How are y'all?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yes. Glad to be here.
So I am super hype about this because at least for the past few days, since I saw that y'all were on Instagram, I've been singing Spark of Love, and my mama was here yesterday and was like, again? Like you gonna do this again? Like
I love it.
Yes. Yes.
First of all, you get kudos for calling her mama, because you know we from the South and it's mama. It ain't mom, it ain't mother, it's mama first. You know?
It's mama.
Mama.
Love it.
Yes.
So for the people tuning in that may not be familiar with you guys, or they may not have ever known your names, let's go around and, introduce yourself and tell us what you've been up to. So who wants to go first?
We'll let Cuzzo go first.
Okay.
You want me to go
Fernando.
first? What's up, y'all? Fernando Chip Carter, because I know that everybody know me from Special Generation. They know it's me, not Fernando, but Chip Carter. Man, I just been living life, doing some music. Man, and we'll get into that later, but it's good to be here. I'm humbled that, people still want to hear our story. I love it. That's about it.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
I see. Wait.
And Maquet popping in on us.
Yep, there
we go.
Hey.
What's up, Quet?
What's up, Quet?
Hit
Hey.
that
Doing the
microphone.
intro. All right. Well, let me go now.
Okay.
I'm Kendrick Washington. People call me the caboose of the group with the R&B soul voice. Now I've been just living life, being blessed, man. Totally blessed. Still doing some music. Doing what we love. It's been a truly therapy for us, and I'm just so excited that we still have a chance to tell our story.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Maurice, what about you?
All right. Well, so this is Maurice Dowdell, and I too am just so appreciative of this just wonderful young lady that has just graced us to be able to talk a little bit about Shamika. Yes, I know I wasn't gonna forget it. So what I've been doing, I've just been singing unto the Lord. In fact, I started pastoring a few years ago, but
Amen.
we have this, this wonderful camaraderie amongst us where, I think we call it G Boys Forever,
Yes.
the things where, you realize that the friendships and the things that got us here, which was praying and being there for one another, it still maintains. And so we're looking forward to just telling you, whatever questions you have, answering questions, and yes, maybe we're hoping that some new music is on the horizon, but we're just doing what we do and loving this life that God has given us at these,
Yes.
years. And that's that.
Yes. I love it.
Okay. And let's see.
I see Maquet. He doesn't
Yeah,
realize
he
probably
just
home.
disappeared. Yeah. Is Charlie still with us?
Charlie,
I think he might be still driving.
Okay.
He
there
just
you go.
Oh,
I'm
there
here.
he is.
There you
Charlie.
go.
What you want to know?
Introduce yourself.
My name is Charles. I hear with Maurice and Chip and stuff, but
Yes.
I'm at work, guys. So I'm at a hospital, so I can't do too much. I had to go hide in the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Listen,
But here-
I used to do interviews in the break room and in the car. I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm I have my own business. I'm writing a book. I want to buy a bank if I can, but
That's
that was I talked with Ken about. My book is called How to Love Daddy's Little Girl.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
It's about knowing principles and who she is, and how to value her and see her worth, and just see her name and what you can get from her.
Oh man!
Wow,
I love it. I love that.
And for the last person to introduce themselves, take it away.
I am Maquet Robinson, and I'm glad I finally got in.
Yes.
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 Well, I mean, I've just been recently just been doing music and running my little construction company. That's it.
Okay.
What's up?
Yeah.
I'm
Staying
glad.
busy.
Busy is good. I'm so glad that all of you are here. I have been wondering where you've been, what you've been up to. So it's good to see everybody looks healthy and
That's
doing
what's
well.
up.
Yeah.
What's up?
So let's start from the beginning. Tell me, how did Special Generation even come together? Like, was it like in high school? Like, did y'all sing in the church choir together? Like, tell us how it all got started, and whoever wants to give us the tea can start it off.
And I'll bounce. So go ahead, Kendrick.
I'm gonna let Marquette do it. I like the way Marquette tells it. Okay.
Well, Ken, I'm gonna bounce off with Chip after you introduce it, and then Chip and I'll come in right behind.
Yeah.
Well, we just, we just had that thing for wanting to be musicians. So we met in high school, in the neighborhood. We were like the boys on the block before New Kids on the Block. It's like we go eat some chicken wings over Maurice's house. We would hang out with Maurice for a little bit, and then we go to Fernando crib. But we started just being inspired by groups that we saw, especially New Edition.
Mm-hmm.
New Edition,
we instead of getting ourselves involved in back in that day, so much crime that was going on. Yeah. We took up the hobby for wanting to learn how to be professional singers, and just to start it off, we did it in my garage.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of what Ken was saying, Lakewood High School in St. Petersburg,
Hollywood High,
me and Kendrick, we'd be in the hallway singing, and we was like, let's sing this right here. We singing Ready for the World, we singing New Edition, and the girls loved it. So we was like, man, we need to do this. So we just started singing more, and we was like, okay, let's put a group together. So that's what me and Kendrick was like, we need to put a group together, right? So we were going on, I'm going way back. So we were going on vacation, and so Kendrick said, I'm going out of town. I said, oh, me too. So we'll meet back once we come back from out of town. Mm-hmm. We're going to meet and we're going to get this group thing going, right? I said, yeah, let's do it. So to find out, we out of town, right? We in the same city and didn't even know it. We in Live Oak, Florida at a skating rink. My cousins, because I'm visiting my cousins, right? They said, you want to go to the skating ring with us? In my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, there's probably some girls there, right? So I was like, yeah, let's go. Of course. Yeah. So I come in, Kendrick standing right there. I said, man, so this way you was going?
I'm like, what?
Typical guys, because girls would have said, where you going? This is where I'm going. We would have known before we even went.
We didn't say that. Right?
Right. It was funny. It was funny because my family's like, that's your cousin, right? I was like,
exactly.
Ooh.
That's funny.
What?
Crazy, right? we know. But that's how we started Special Generation.
Okay.
And it's more to it. Go ahead, Quet.
Now, one day Jesse Jackson had came to our city.
St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg. He was speaking at a church. And my mom wanted to go to the event. I didn't really want to go. But she was like, hey, come with me, drive me here. I said, okay. So when we were there, we had a common friend. I think it was Terry. And and he told you guys about me. He said, hey, this guy can sing. And then he told me about you guys. And I was like, well, okay. So I went and he introduced me to y'all. And y'all say, well, hey, we want you to sing something for him. So we went behind the church
And he said that, and Terry, Terry, a big New Edition fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said that, man, this dude sound like Ralph Tresvant.
Yeah. So I want to see.
Yeah. So I don't remember what I sang, but I know we went behind the church and I sang like maybe 2 or 3 songs for them. Mm-hmm. And they was like, hey, we're making a group. You want to be in the group? I was like, yeah, Said, well, we're having practice today at 4:00. And I was like, I'll be there. And so I couldn't wait for the church to get over with, and so we go and practice. So that day I met them over at another friends of ours house and started singing. And it was from there on. I already knew Maurice because me and Maurice grew up in the same church. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So me and Mo grew up, So that's God right there at work. You know what I'm saying? Amen. All of us from different aspects, but we all knew each other. It was cool.
Yeah. And
that was it.
Let me drop my little 2 cents in there because I never get to tell this part. Here's my 2 cents.
Okay.
So now, one day in my neighborhood, I'm just walking around in my neighborhood and I hear some brothers singing. And I remember, like, man, what's that? And I turn around the corner and I see a group of people huddled around these brothers singing. And I was like, dang. And I remember when I just kind of approached, and just was listening to them sing. Now, I was a writer, but didn't consider myself a singer. I just was a songwriter. But I was so enamored when I would hear these brothers sing. And it was Ken and it was Chip. And back then there was a guy named AJ. I think AJ was there. Y'all remember that? It was right there in front of Sharisa house. Remember that? Sharisa?
Yeah.
Right. And Tony Knobloch house right there. Y'all remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they was in there singing, and that was my first introduction to those guys, hearing them sing. And I remember I took them over. Y'all remember Willie Fred? I took them over Willie Fred house, and they were singing on the mics. And back then the reel ain't everybody have a reel to reel, but he dating the technology, but he had a reel to reel, and they just was singing on the mics and
reel to reel.
But I didn't sing with them. I just was, I just became real good friends with them, and particularly take Ken. I would let Ken hear all of the songs that I would write, but even not being a part of the group, I would just hear them. And so it was somewhere in between what Maquet just said about him meeting them and what they said about after their live over experience. That's when I saw them, but I wasn't part of the group, but I just began to just really, wow, I'd never seen street corner singers like that, and that's how I got to know them.
Wow.
Yeah, and to go on a little further with it, like Charlie was the next member to join us, and we still had AJ in the group. And wow, I got to jump over, like flying to LA, flying to Chicago. I mean, we flew to a lot of places to perform, right? And we were just singing top 40 stuff, New Edition stuff. We were singing stuff like that, right? And but Reese was the last member to join the group. Because AJ didn't make it, he didn't work out, and we was like, we still needed that 5th member. We always wanted to be 5, and so we was like, that's when Maurice popped up, and then of course the brother could sing, right? And he brought, and the thing about Maurice, he had this different vibe, he had this different voice, he had this older voice, and it just matched with us, so it was like, okay,
still does, right?
Yes.
He just had to get them dance steps right. And
you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied.
Marlon Jackson.
But you know what? But I commend you, Maurice. You got those dance steps down, and you was right with us.
Absolutely.
Oh God,
Tamika, what I
mentioned that quick because that's real talk right there.
Yeah. What I want to say was God did a thing with putting us together because individually we had different styles, and it worked out when we sung harmony. You would hear the difference,
right?
And Charlie, Charlie had
beautiful falsetto,
the high notes.
Yeah,
I mean, from any of them old school songs, Charlie was on point.
Yeah,
but we knew to be, because we took singing very serious. This was our thing. Right. We wasn't doing any playing basketball or anything. But when it came to singing, we was like, okay, we got to be better than the best. Right.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, I when I look back and think about how strategic all of us just gelled and came together, it made so much. It made the sound that they call Special Generation. So
plus we prayed every
day.
Every day.
It was a daily
Amen.
thing. We didn't miss
Wow.
prayer.
That's
It
one
was
thing
the
you don't
prayer.
hear groups talk about, and I love that.
Yes.
It's the prayer got us through. Shaniqua?
Shamika.
Shamika. It was
Yeah.
the prayer that got us through. It's the prayers. Yeah. I'm telling you, Shamika, there was guys in our own neighborhood wanting to beat us up
all the time.
Yeah,
because we wanted to do more than just being in the streets.
Yeah,
we didn't want to be in the street. We wanted to go at our career. We was in the parade. We had guys come with sticks and all that wanted to beat our butts because the girl was hollering at us.
Twit, I see you laughing about that. I remember that too.
Wow.
We had our. He's talking about wait till we get down there at the block. I was like, okay, wait till we get to the block. Because don't get us wrong now, we wasn't scared.
We were in the Martin Luther King. It was a Martin Luther King parade that we had every year in St. Petersburg, and we were on one of the floats, and they had us on there, and we were like performing while we were going down the float, and the women are just, all the girls and little girls are just screaming and stuff, and you can see the guys are like, they're doing like that, because they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and the one guy walked up to next to the float that we were on. He was talking about, well, wait till we get down to the end of the block. We go, and we was, like I said, we weren't scared. It was gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I seen him years later. He handed me his cassette tape.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Everything that we have went through until now, I think it was prayer.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we all didn't know God as well. We couldn't quote scriptures, none of that stuff. But we could pray our butt off. We will pray. Yeah. When it was going bad for one another, we prayed. When it was good time, we prayed. In between the time, we prayed. It was prayer that got us through this.
Amen.
Like when that opportunity popped up.
Oh my goodness.
One, how did you know this is our chance? This is it for us. We are going to nail this opportunity. Like was it? Well, that opportunity was with MC Hammer, correct?
Yeah,
exactly. The first one wasn't.
Okay, tell me about the first one.
I'll let you take this out the read. The first one, we had met a guy through Charles's aunt. We had met a guy who knew another guy, and this guy was putting on shows in like Illinois and Chicago, and he wanted us to come out there and get in these talent shows. So we trained, and we were already ready. So we got out there and we were winning contests, outside of our state, in Illinois and a few other places. And during one of those visits, we ran into a guy named Al Brown, and Al said that him and his partner was starting up a label called Godfather Records in LA. And they wanted us to come to LA and try out for the label. And we was like, cool. So we waited for the phone call. It maybe went a little bit longer than we expected because we were hungry. We were ready.
Yeah.
And finally that phone call came and we went to LA. And when we get out to LA, this guy had us up in the hills. We were in the Woodland Hills and we were living good, and it turned out to be Michael Harris. They called him Harry O. We didn't know at that time the things that were that were happening. So things got a little rough out there, maybe about a year into it. And so we ended up coming back home. And when we came back home, Ernest Gibbons he played for the Houston Oilers back then. He told Hammer about us.
Titans now.
It's Tennessee Titans now. Yeah. He told Hammer about us in Texas, and he asked Hammer if we could open up the show when Hammer came into our city, and Hammer said yes. So we fast forward to the show. We didn't get a chance to perform at the show, but he told us to come back to the hotel. So we went back to the hotel, sang all night. Go ahead, take it, Reese.
Oh, gosh, I was reading up on Harry O. Saying, I guess I'll let one of you tell that. I just wanted to speak to the readiness thing. What Charles and others were speaking to is and about the group thing. There's a lot of appeal to being independent and singing solo. I totally get that, but man, when you have a camaraderie amongst brothers and you can, I can't put too much on us as saying we saw it like this, but we did find the value in staying together. And, Shamika, and this is our counsel to budding groups and people that want to sing out there, having some people that you can trust in can be such a shield. Yeah. Especially when you have someone who's, Charlie was always telling us, don't get involved in the nonsense. Let's just stay focused on what we got to do. And what we want to do is make records. What we want to do is get a record deal. Don't get involved in this. Don't get involved in that. And that insularness, we have many, many stories that we can tell you of how it just bounced off of us because we didn't get involved with a whole lot there. There's a whole lot of nonsense that could have pulled us down. A lot of drama lot of drama that, many times drama could have pulled us down, but we stayed to the concept of what we wanted to do and the excellence of being good. We would practice when nobody was looking. That's what, when you ask, how did you know you were ready? We didn't necessarily know. We just were ready if the opportunity came up.
Right.
And the excellence of making sure that we were on point with the songs we sang, on point with the harmony, on point with the dance move, not just that. We didn't have an AR department to refer to back when AR departments were who you referred to make you be cultured, to make sure you dressed right, to make sure you spoke right. All we had was one another, and we would feed off of things that we've heard. And so we're going to all dress alike. We're going to all keep our heads on straight. That's what I want to speak to. So
let me add to you that. And I always say this. When we saw those 5 microphones in my garage, it didn't matter where we performed. It felt like we were still in my garage.
Yes.
And that kept us on point.
Okay.
It's almost like riding a magic carpet.
Yeah.
We knew how to be on point when if one of us got out of sync, we knew how to fall back in sync. Because remember, we're still in the garage. No need to get nervous. No need to think about it. Let's do it. And we carried that same
sang together like on a regular basis in 30 years. But if the technology supported it, and technology currently doesn't support it, it would be out of sync. But I promise you we could sing on the spot. We could give us the key and we could probably sing Spark of Love right now. And that's that came from practice. It came from a discipline of saying, no, there's some boundaries that you stay in for excellence, right? Yeah. And that's the kind of thing, that's that groupness, right? Yeah, it's great to have a solo and do what you want and not have to answer to someone else. But what's even greater, even the Bible says how wonderful it is for men to dwell together in harmony.
Together.
Right.
What I could add to that is very, very important is that we learn from each other.
Yes.
We there was no egos involved. We learned. We listened. If somebody said this note or do this note, and we actually listened to each other.
An ego might have rose up every now and then, but then you have people like, our manager Bobby that'll come and snatch you up.
I was wondering, that was my next question, because I'm like, it seems like a lot of harmony and peace, but I know there's 5 different personalities.
Yeah, but we didn't really clash. We didn't really
never.
You just have, you young and immature, and I'm speaking. That incident specifically was about me, because when you got 100,000. Screaming fans, literally 150,000 screaming fans, you're looking good. And you start to, what they say in the South, you start to smell yourself.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you get people like our road manager, Bobby, much love to you, Bobby. I made the mistake of forgetting, who I was dealing with. And in my little 19-year-old, 20-year-old self, he had to come and check me. Yeah. That's good, though. That's good. Sometimes it's necessary. But from us, we always had camaraderie. But she wanted to hear the rest of the story about him. Or somebody pick up there what happened in the room.
Okay, so we sang most of the night. I think we ended up leaving around 5 or 6 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And right before we left, Ham said, "Look, I'm working on a new album." He said, "I want you guys to be a part of the album." And see, what we were ready for, what we had been preparing for, which we didn't know, we were already singing a lot of these songs already. And so when he asked us, "Can you sing this song?" we'd start singing it. "Can you sing this song?" We'd start singing it. And he was just, his mind, he was blown. And so he was like, "Well, could you guys get on the road with me? I have a studio bus. We're going to record this new album on the road." We was like, "Yeah, when?" He was like, "Tonight." And we was like, "Well, can we say goodbye to our family and go back?"
Right.
And so he said, "Well, I'll be in Albany, Georgia, in 2 weeks. Y'all meet me in Albany, Georgia, and get on the road with me. So my sister and her boyfriend at the time, they rented a van. All of us jumped in that van 2 weeks later, headed to Albany, Georgia. We got there. I remember we recorded the first night. We were there. We recorded the first night. Because when we got from the show, when we came in from the show, Felton was already ready for us. Felton Pilot from Confunction. That's one of our biggest mentors right there.
That's right.
Felton said, "Okay, you guys, we're going to sing tonight." Blah blah blah. So we was like, "Okay." So we went down there and we did 3 songs that night. Now, when we got in that morning, Hammer called us and said, "Okay, you guys got one of the songs done, or you guys get a chance to hear the song?" We was like, "We finished all 3 of them." He's like, "What? 3?" Yeah. And so he went to the studio bus and heard them all, and he was just like, "Man." Shit. Then he was like, "Okay, look, I'm putting the label together. I want y'all to be the first ones off the label." And we was like, "Let's do it." And we stayed on the road with him ever since then. Yeah.
Wow. I have to know this because I don't have good sense. Were y'all wearing Hammer pants when you went to meet him the first time?
No.
Okay.
There were no Hammer pants like that.
Okay.
That was something that was created during our time,
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was going to say that, because once we recorded the songs and whatnot, I'm not sure when we recorded You Can't Touch This. Was it one of the 3 songs?
No. We were in Fremont when we recorded You Can't Touch This. We did Have You Seen Her that night, Help You Children that night, and I think On Your Face.
Okay. But that hard work and being ready, this is this right here. You can't touch this.
Yeah, love it.
That hard work of being ready and doing our thing. This is I'm proud of this, and I know my brothers are proud of this too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Being on that studio bus, recording, this is that hard work right there.
Yeah.
Some guys young guys from St. Petersburg right here.
That's
St.
it.
Petersburg, Florida.
And to me, there's no overnight successes like that.
No.
Somebody is preparing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we were already ready. We had been preparing for years. We didn't know what for, but now we knew it at that time. Then we knew what it was for. Yeah.
So for reference, for the people that are, because I clearly have my years mixed up thinking like that the Hammer pants were created before, but I should know this because I interviewed Tamichi, the one that created the Hammer pants. Shout out to North Carolina because Tamichi hails from North Carolina. And
you know that Bobby Brown wore the pants first.
Yeah.
Bobby
every
was
step I take.
Pants. Yeah,
they were loose, but they weren't like hammers. They was loose though.
They were loose, but they
Yeah.
So once Hammer started wearing the Hammer pants, then y'all got a pair.
Well, that was part of the show. It was part of the show.
Okay.
One of the appeals of him, because Hammer is the dancer, right?
Yes.
And part of the appeal of those pants was how much room it gave you to dance like we dance, right? Because Hammer ain't no finesse dance. We call it power dancing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so to be able to do what now is the Running Man, this ubiquitous dance, but to be able to do that in it's a regular class. You'd be splitting pants all over the place, right?
Thank you.
Right.
But you had all this room in there, and it looked good doing it. Oh yeah. So that's why they really became.
Yeah. I had a pair of Hammer pants, and I
think
remember
everybody had
I wore my purple Hammer pants.
I feel you.
They were the parachute pants of the 90s, I would say.
Yes.
I remember that. I'm dating myself.
No. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, with the zippers, all the zippers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You could take a leg off.
That's right.
So do you guys have any favorite moments or anything funny or anything we don't even know about from your time working with Hammer?
So many.
Give us some tea.
So many.
I mean, I'll tell you one. I'm just get my quick one in.
Okay.
So we had been touring for a while, and that's a whole story in itself, but just touring. And you had been hearing things about how well the album was doing, Please Hammer, Don't Hurt Him. But one day, I can't remember if it was after a show or we're in a layover. We were in this beautiful hotel. I don't remember where it was, but Hammer brought us all together the whole posse. And we were all in, I just remember, you know, light structures and mirror structures from the singer. We were in this beautiful kind of lobby area. Louis Burrell came out, who was Hammer's brother, and it was his manager, and he announced that was that when they crossed the 5 million point with the album sales, and that was a breakthrough for a rap oriented album back then. And it was just talking about how successful the album was, and I mean, it was just it was the work that we had done, because the training for the Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em tour was rigorous. We was ready though. I mean, 6-packed up. You know, we were ready, you know, this elaborate set. And so to see the fruit of our labors, you know, obviously Hammer being the chief there, but to see of our labors, because it was a collaborative effort. A big part of what made Hammer was the extravaganza of this show for a rapper, right? Yes. You know, I mean, you had a stage on par with what the Wiz would be back in its day, you know, with structures. You know, you never see nothing like that for
Pyro.
Rap artist. You know, that was Earth, Wind, and Fire, or Kiss, or, you know what I mean? And it was this huge extravaganza that with all these people and levels on stage and pyrotechnology, just all of these wonderful things that came out of it. And so we, you know, and we gave every bit every night. And so that
every night.
To hear that, I tell you, and Ken got, you know, if you look at Ken's picture, you can see the 10 million placard. I think it's 25 million now, but you can see the 10 million platinum placard there behind him. But I'll never forget that. That was a golden moment.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it did. It actually ended up doing 32 million.
Wow.
He did 17 overseas and 15 over here domestically.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was huge. It was huge for us, and it was huge for him. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the way God brought it all together it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I'm still humbled by that.
Absolutely.
Very much so. Very much.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. And one of my stories being with Hammer, it was actually the 5 of us and him. We were on the road, but we had to fly to the Bob Hope special.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
For Oprah.
When I say Bob Hope, come on.
Right.
Now, if you know history, Bob Hope, what?
Yeah, that's big.
So we get on the plane and we get to LAX. No sleep, mind you, because we just got off stage. I think we had just got off stage somewhere. No sleep. We land in LAX, and they say, "Oh, we got to take another plane, you know, to the desert." I'm like, "Oh boy!" So we got on this. It wasn't small like a crop plane, but it sounded like a crop plane. It sounded like
off.
Right. But you know, we was young dudes, so we was like, you know, you don't even realize that. So we jump on the plane and we just sitting there.
Adrenaline.
You know, y'all feel me? Y'all remember?
Yeah.
And, so we land, and you know, we get in the van. They take us to the hotel. I mean, and we see Whoopi Goldberg. See. I mean, y'all help me with the people
Vanessa Williams.
Oh my God! Everybody was there.
Yeah,
and they knew who we were. Now that was very humbling.
Remember, they told us we had to stay in our room so Oprah wouldn't see us, because if she saw us there, she'd know if something was going on. Yeah, because it was special for her, but she was being surprised by Bob Hope.
Yes.
And to go back to that plane, when that pilot spent that propeller, it was over for me. I ain't never been on a plane with it. You got to get out there and do this here, man. Come on.
But that was one of my that I'll never forget about being on tour with Hammer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow. Yeah.
Anybody else have a great memory to share?
Well,
Ken, you got one?
Well, my memory just being with Hammer and everything, the time that we were at Paisley Park.
Oh boy.
And we did some of the records, our first album, we did a lot of recording in his recording studios there at Paisley Park. But we also got a chance to meet Prince for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Man, that was it. Man. And he was sitting in his little chair eating Doritos.
Wait, Prince was eating Doritos?
Yes.
And had a shirt on, the pants, everything that you see Prince in when you see him, he had it on. The shirt with the frizzles and the everything.
Not to mention that big strawberry. He had a big strawberry sitting on the little console. He was eating that too.
Yeah. So that those just memories that you just like can't forget, man.
Yeah. I love these memories. These are awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, it also put the starting foundation for songs that we had on our first album. I remember hearing Maurice. Wow. He wrote a song, Another Place.
Oh my God.
And based on different studios, you get different quality sounds. And I remember hearing that record and I knew Reese wrote it. This was a record he wrote when we were just in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear it actually just be birthed, I was blown away. Man. And that record wound up being on our first album, Another Place.
If not the best song that we ever recorded, it's one of the best songs that we ever recorded. Yeah. And I give that props to Mo Money.
Mo Money get there. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the greatest ones to me was that we had been on the road, singing everything, doing all the records and everything. But one day, Too Big MC, he asked Hammer, "Won't you let the boys go on and sing in the middle of your show?"
Oh yeah,
and that had never been done before. Stopping a rap show to have some singers come in and sing, and we was like, "You want us to do that? We'll do it." So Hammer said, "Yeah, I want y'all to come out and sing something. What y'all gonna sing?" And so we decided to sing, I think, a little bit of "Can You Stand the Rain," and something else we sang. But I remember that because we were in Memphis, and Memphis was an all-guy city, and Guy and New Edition were beefing at that time, and we didn't know that. And so we got up there and we was ready. Charles came in with his Johnny part, started singing Johnny part. Next thing you know, we hear guys starting to boo, and it was like, maybe this wasn't a good idea. And then I came in my part, and then all the girls started screaming and going crazy. And then they accepted us. So we was like, okay, we rebounded from that because we never heard no boos coming from anybody before, And to hear that come back, and then the crowd, the way those screams for the girls screaming, it was like, whoa, we're here. We're here. We're on a big platform. I mean, a huge platform, and they're accepting us. It's kind of like we were humble, and it's kind of like it took us back a little bit. Like, wow.
I remember that.
And from there on, Hammer let us come out and sing from the rest of that tour.
Yes, he did.
That was the marketing, right?
That was great. That was absolutely great.
Yeah,
that was his way of introducing us to the world, city by city, letting us come out and introduce us with our name. And let us do our, 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow. They had wardrobe change. Why y'all didn't come to Asheville, North Carolina? Because I would have tried to come to the concert if my parents would have let me.
We were somewhere close to there.
Y'all probably came to Charlotte or something, but never.
A couple times.
Yeah, we played Charlotte. I think we played a lot of these major cities and major states. 4 or 5, 6 times.
We did it a bunch of times.
Yeah. Is Charlie still on here? Do you have any memories if you are still on here?
I think he might be.
Yes, ma'am. I have a couple. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There he is.
There we go.
I remember we had a chance. We was on the tour with Gladys Knight after 7. And we prayed with Wisconsin while he was going through his little situation. That was a great moment. Another moment where that Boys to Men. Boys to Men for the first time. I think he was talking to you, Chip, or Kendrick.
Me.
Yeah, they let us
I was taking him around. Michael Bivens from BBD. Well, Mike Bivens. Mike asked me when we got to the BRE if I would watch over the guys until he came into town. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. So I saw the guys. They had no records out. They were standing by the elevator. I got them. They came back to our room. They played us some songs, and we just went around. I took them to a few of the parties, and Tevin Campbell too, and Shanice. Took him to a few of the parties, and we just hung out. And from there on, we all just had a connection with each other. So when we would come into different cities, and they'd be in the same city, we'd always be like, "Hey, the boys are here." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was love between us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because we didn't know they were going to do what they did. You know, but we heard Motown Philly came out and it just took off, and we was happy for them. You know, we were happy for them. You know, but that was a big thing. That was a big thing for us. Go ahead, Charlie. I'm sorry.
I don't know. He gone now, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to the next question. So I want to talk about some of your song, a couple of your songs, and just kind of hear the stories behind those. You've already mentioned one of the songs, but tell me about "Love Me Just for Me." I mean, I know that is a classic.
All right, well, let me tell this, unless Charlie gonna tell it.
No, he gone.
Okay, let me tell you this. So here's what happened. So part of the story about when we started writing, when we came back to sign, when Hammer actually told us to come on tour with him, we recorded there in Albany for a few days, but there was a question of not a question of whether he wanted us to go with him, but whether we could, because they didn't know if they had enough room on the buses. And so we went back and forth, and they were trying to make room in the other buses. And this really was a signifying how much we meant to Hammer. Hammer said, you know what, because they had run out of room, and it was two of us left. And so what Hammer says, well, you know what, put them on my bus. And so what happened was, me and Charlie ended up riding on Hammer's bus around. Where there was 3 buses, and we would ride on Hammer's bus. And so it was really neat, you know, because he had a really nice bus. They were all nice, but his was really nice.
No, but his was special.
I'm telling you this. So we ride on this bus, and one night, Hammer, we travel between city to city, and one night, Hammer comes from his room in the back, and he started hitting on him. He's like, hey, Mo, Charlie, come on. I got this song. And he said, I want you to hear this song. I got this idea for y'all. And he would do like this, and this is Hammer. Love me just for me. Just for me. He's like, you know, because his falsetto be in and out. But we got what he was saying, and we started to sing along with it, and kind of got the tune of what he wanted to do. And that was the beginnings of "Love Me Just for Me."
Love Me Just for Me.
He had the hook, and we put the meat on the rest of it, right in the song.
Yeah,
and that was how "Love Me Just for Me" came to be.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
He's a great writer. It's a bunch of songs, you know. I think sometimes it's a talent he hadn't cultivated. He's actually is a great song. He has some great ideas for songs, you know. So
yeah.
So we got to talk about my favorite. I must have had the cassette single, because that's probably why I kept wearing it out. "Spark of Love."
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I can't tell you what tell that one.
And the "Spark of Love" is crazy, because "Spark of Love" was, if you listen to our first album, which it was on, it was like different. That song was totally different than anything we did on that album.
Yeah.
So, but anybody got a story about "Spark of Love"?
Well, so if I can. So it actually had been around for a while. And so Felton, it was interesting because Felton just said, I got a song for you. And we was like, okay, what's the song? He said, no, I got a song for you. You're going to love it, right? He didn't really tell it, but it had been around for a while. Yeah. And so I remember when he let us hear it, it was like, yeah. And it has that, it's old school versus new school. And then the way it was produced, it was produced big and bright. And it had it had this thing about it, right? And so everyone that heard it reacted the same way. And so they said, you know what, we got to go big on the video. We got to go big on the video. So we recorded this song. And so here's the thing, though. It wasn't in the iteration that you hear. It's not how it was. It was just a great song. And then we were in the studio. Tell me if y'all remember this. We were in the studio, and Felton was like, well, you know, we need something. We just need something different, something a little bit more. And so I don't know if he said it or if we said, well, you know, maybe we because the big thing about us was our harmonics and our ability to acapella.
Harmonize.
So we was like, well, let's come up with some kind of an acapella thing we can do. And so we just kind of in there in the studio. I still remember this in that Buster studio back there on what is it in Fremont. We just come up with different parts. And we just started layering all these parts. Oh my God. And it started layering. And then it was like, yeah, because in studio production, I don't know, I guess it's like this now. When you have time and you're supported by a label that can give you these resources, sometimes it develops. You do a piece this day, and it's like, that sounds good. But then 2 days later, the producer will lay some strings or lay a sound on it. It's like, that sounds better. And then another day, it's like, it just ain't that. And what this was it was like the icing on the cake. When we laid that, and when Ham and them heard, I still remember Lewis and them lost their mind because you had all these harmonics going with it. And then, man, and then when they put us on that yacht for the video, it was over. It was it was over. It was over.
I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about that yacht because when we first got on there, we went out a few, like some miles, you know.
You didn't see no land.
You couldn't see no land.
Oh, wow.
And that was actually Jackie Kennedy, the man who she was Onassis. That was his boat. That was one of his yachts.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember coming up, and I remember dolphins being on the side of us. They were swimming too. So it was like, here comes the helicopter. Helicopter came out, flew around us about 3 times, and then left. We found out later on, them 3 times cost like $30,000.
30 grand. That's right.
That was our biggest budget video right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before you had a drone that you can just go do, you know.
Yeah.
That was the drone back in the day. Right.
Yeah. And
I'm like so shocked. I'm like, well, I can't even compute this. This is crazy.
And we didn't get into who, like, all of our different, like, girls in the video.
Lord.
Now should I mention the lovely Nia Long?
Well,
yes,
I'm glad you brought that up because I had a fan question. Yes, they wanted to know what was it like working with Nia Long.
You know what? It was beautiful because she's
sweetheart.
She's a beautiful person, and she, you know, very professional. Man, we just all had a good time. You know, we was young. We was doing a video, and you know, we just all like, you know, connected, and it was a great time.
Look at my question.
The thing about that is that on the video, she had just done Boys to the Hood. So I remember sitting on the set of the video talking to her, and you know, we're sitting in the chairs and she's talking about how nervous she is about some of the scenes that she had done. She wanted to make sure it was received well. I think it was just wonderful. But obviously Boys in the Hood went off to be this incredible success in her career.
Well. And I think she did BBD, you know, she did the videos with them. She did a lot of stuff. And she did Friday after that. I mean, she did a lot of stuff after that, after doing our video.
So none of y'all tried to holler at her at all?
Well, I mean, okay, you know, we had like a love scene, you know, I kissed her on her lips. I mean, it didn't mean anything, but hey, I mean, it was a love scene. It was Nia Long.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but the thing about it is, and it's crazy, but I say the connection because Quet, you guys used to hang out, right? In St. Pete.
Yeah. Her grandmother lives back off of, down south, like 54th Avenue.
So she flew out to hang out a few times.
Yeah. Every time she came into town, she called me. If I was here, she'd call me and you would just go hang out. Yeah. We were good friends.
Cool. That's cool.
Still are.
Okay.
Nia Long, everybody. Nia Long.
Yes.
Nia Long.
Yes.
Okay. And so the latest release, I'm just jumping to 2019. It's called I Can't Help Myself. And it's a little bit to me, it sounded a little bit different, but it's like the same thing, but like you're also bringing the current sound into it. Would that be accurate and fair to say with that single? Talk about that.
Yes. Well, Chip was coming down, Fernando was coming down here, and he wanted to get in the studio. I have a studio in the house. So I was like, well, yeah, when you get down here, of course, let's get in there and record something. So I went into my little catalog and I pulled out something I thought that fit him. And I started writing to it. And while I was writing to it, the hook came to me, the verses came to me, so I put a scratch vocal down so he can hear, what he was going to do. And so when he came in the studio, I started playing it for him. He's like, I like that. He's like that. He's like, well, why don't we leave you on the first verse and I come in with the second verse? Yeah. I hadn't thought about it. I was like, well, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine. And so we did that. Yeah. And we did that. And we actually wrote a bridge together. Put a bridge down on there. When Chip went back, or when Fernando went back, Ken heard it. And Ken was like, what? He was like, you got to let me get that bridge. He said, y'all know y'all do that song without me. And I was like, yeah. He said, I could do my vocals and sing you my vocals. I was like, perfect. So Ken sent me the vocals, right? But Ken didn't realize he sent me like all his takes. And so I'm
Shamika, look, I got a recording session at the house. I just record. Just push play. Yeah. I don't worry about no vocals. It just go on there. And so I'm hearing all these vocals he did. I was like, man, that's good. That's good. Why didn't you use that? That's good. And I was like, you know what? I got this. So I took each one of them little parts and those little pieces and I placed them throughout the song. And it just sounded like we were all there together at one time. Oh my God. It came out great. What I want to add
right?
It wasn't, Shamika, it wasn't planned. It was organic. This song came about. It wasn't something that we were planning to even be released like that. And that's how special that song meant. It's like, I got to get on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
right. It was just that great, but it wasn't planned. That's what made it really special.
And you summed it all up. You summed the whole thing up. When Ken's vocals came in there, I was like, man, look at here. That just took it to a whole nother level, He came in with that, like a cleanup hitter. He came in with that nice baritone and he just started going. I was like, oh man, look at here. I had a great time mixing it myself, you know what I'm saying? For me to actually sit there and mix my brother's vocals was incredible, Oh my God.
So with that said, and with technology, because y'all are obviously in different places and now you can still record and put it all together in a song, are we going to get a new album?
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's going to be a full album right off, but we are definitely going to do something. I don't know how, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
We gotta do it.
Got to.
Yeah. I mean, what I want to say is back then we had a different yearning just to do music.
Right.
And we're in a place right now where, like I said, if it's organic, it's what we feel like it. It's never a timing when we're gonna do it, but we know. It's kind of weird to say. We know when it's the right time. It's all about knowing when it's the right season. Yeah. Gotcha. And I put it like that because I'm much close. I'm here with Maquet, and Charlie and Maurice, and Chip. They're all out together. So it's like,
yeah, I like that. So I just have a couple more questions, and I'm gonna jump into my fan question segment.
All right. Okay.
I got to make sure I include the questions the fans sent in. So I was just curious if, because it was like, and I'm jumping all over the place, but going back to, you're on the road with Hammer, your album came out, like you're winning awards, traveling and everything, and then it felt like all of a sudden we stopped hearing from you guys after a while. Yeah. Was it because of like when Hammer, the whole bankruptcy thing, did it just kind of, was it a trickle down or what happened? Where'd y'all go?
Very much so. I believe that it was just a result of, kind of the bottom fell out financially for the company. So they couldn't sustain the marketing effort. And then, back then we had, and forgive me guys if I'm speaking out of turn, but this is just my take on it. The effort that would have been required to sustain, a group of our caliber, or at least at where we needed to be, it just really wasn't. I mean, from a literal resource standpoint to a manpower and expertise standpoint, it just wasn't coming. And then we kind of got out of sync, with what our hope would be from the company to market us with what they were doing. Because granted, you got to understand, the Hammer ship was taking on water. You understand what I'm saying? So the resources had to go into trying to keep, the Hammer ship, the source ship that funds all is going.
Right.
We may not have had necessarily the sophistication to understand why, but what we did understand was, I know Hammer, is the main source here, but we this is our livelihood as well, and so with that, we tried to do something on our own, and trying to secure maybe a different vehicle to get us where we're going, but it never worked out for us to take that to the next.
And to be honest with you, I mean, after doing all the work that we did, it didn't feel like we really needed to put something out at that time. After working with Gerald Levert and name a lot of Stephen Russell from Troop.
Yeah,
I think we were pretty. I would have to say during that time we were pretty tired. We needed to be start our own foundation, and that's what we settled at in Fremont, California. Right, and we were still growing as men, I should say. So you're right, Maurice. Once all that stuff was going on, we still had to figure out what would be the next step.
Right. Yeah, we were living the identity of two different groups. We were Hammer's background singers, and we were Special Generation.
Right.
And the two people couldn't tie the two together. So one day we had to ask Hammer, hey, Ham, we need to, go and promote. Go and promote our records and do our own thing, And Hammer looked at us. He was like, well, I understand that. He said, you guys are right. So whenever you guys are ready to get off the tour, you can guys get off the tour. And management set us up with a few other different tours. And so we went from there onto our own with BNGB and One Cause, One Effect and us, and then onto Gladys Knight, and after 7
Bobby
and
Brown.
That's the last tour. It was Bobby Brown, Mary J, TLC and us, And so we were trying to create that identity for ourselves, so we wouldn't be living two different lives or two different groups. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. So
that makes sense.
And I want to say this too. We really didn't know how huge we had gotten because we worked so much.
Yeah.
We didn't. I guess we didn't feel the demand for that next album. It was like we can rest. We
were living in the moment.
Yeah.
And let me speak to this. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I will say this though. We when the second album came out, Butterflies, it did 50,000 in the first day.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
That was unheard of from a new group like us coming out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you were still talking about rewarding moments for being with Hammer. I was waiting to get the opportunity. One of the most rewarding moments for ourselves, because as an artist, you want to know that what you've done, that there's some validity amongst your peers. Well, we started to get feedback that our record was so well received by radio, by the industry, that one of the challenges were trying to get a unified effort to decide, well, should we go with You Found the Right One first? Should we go with You Tie Me Down first? Should we go with Lift Your Head and Smile first? Should you go with, there were so many hits. That's what they said. Yeah. There were so many hits that there were factions in different parts of the country playing, well, we just don't do You Found the Right One. That's a song where, because part of the record business is being able to have a linear, concerted effort so you can get the most yield out of all the work you put into this. So you want to get radio in line, right? Well, so if Florida is no, we won't do You Can't Tie Me Down, and New York is You Found the Right One, and LA is some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was it meant so much that people found so much value in what we did, and radio saw so much value in what we had done. This second, where it was just, that was one of the really truly a rewarding moment. It really was.
Yeah.
Butterfly. I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go on to the fan questions, and I promise they are they're harmless. At least I think so. You might think otherwise, but
it's okay.
So one of the comparisons that someone left actually on my Facebook page was that they said they kind of likened you to like High Five or a group like that. Did you guys get those type of comparisons back then?
Yeah, well, they came after us. High Five came after us, actually. Well, a lot of the groups came after us. So when we came out, it was New Edition. Troop was out.
True.
And so it didn't have any other too much competition like that. And they weren't doing what we were doing. Everybody had their own little niche. Troop was dancing. New Edition had their steps, and we were doing our harmonies and doing pretty much everything,
Yeah.
And
was Riff? Is that the name of the group? Riff? Were they out then?
Nope.
Yes. Riff.
No.
8,
okay.
9, right? But the movie, it was in the movie.
Yeah, they were in the movie.
Yeah. Yes. 8,
9. Yeah.
Okay. Clearly, I'm like all those. I'm like I can't keep up with who came out when.
There's a lot of boy bands.
Yeah, but so one of the questions was, are you writing for or producing other artists?
Well, I write for a few different artists and producing as well, and I think Ken is as well, doing some stuff with X-Man down here.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good one. If there was a 90s tour and you could pick anybody to put on the tour with you, who would it be?
Guys or girls, or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. Dead or alive. Who's going on this tour? You can get a hologram.
Well, I would love for it to be a who can outdance who. New Edition, Troop, or us. I'm just saying. Because we come from a dancing pedigree with Hammer, right? And we had our own steps.
Yeah,
Troop
we did
is
our
known
steps.
for dancing.
Yeah.
And New Edition is known for their finesse. So
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Reese.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see that.
That's a good one.
I'm trying to think because we've been on the road with so many people already.
Or even someone you've been on the road with. You could put your own tour together. Who are we putting on this tour?
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, my girl, the girls, SWV, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely the Rude Boys. Whew.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah.
Over your face. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Hard singers. Yeah.
Yes, just hard singers. Foursome Bees. Foursome Bees.
Jodeci on there too.
Jodeci.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jodeci. Yeah.
They changed the 90s. Jodeci, they was different from Boys to Men, Jodeci.
I'm surprised you didn't tell that story.
Different. Yeah.
Oh, there's a story.
That story of me and KC.
Oh my God! I remember you guys were like out by the crowd, and they broke through a barrier, and these women was like chasing them. It was Maquet, and it was KC, and I just saw them running, and it's just like hundreds of girls just chasing them.
I think we ran into Bob's room too. Yeah.
Big Bob.
Yeah, broke the barrier down.
By the crowd, baby.
That's funny. So the next question is, do you think that we'll ever get an MC Hammer tour that's like a reunion with like Special Generation, BNGB, Oaktown 357, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't understand it.
I would be right there.
Right now we can do that.
Yeah.
Y'all make it happen.
That would be something. That's certainly one-time reunion would be neat. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Even if it wasn't a performance, just to see everybody together again would be something so awesome. I know I talk to Dewana all the time. I talk to Sweet LD all the time. And at one point in time, her and one of the managers or heads at the office, Tracy, were trying to put the Plush Media. We're trying to put something together for us to, all meet up. Just make the time and the place, and we'll be there. But it never fell through. Yeah. But we would love it.
Sure would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one person wanted to know if you had not gone into music, what do you think you would have done instead?
Oh, wow.
I would have been a ninja in Japan.
I love that. I love it.
I was in the martial arts back then.
Okay.
And that was my whole plan. You know, when I graduated from high school, I've been accepted into a society in Japan. I was going to go over there, and that was it. Yeah, that's what
that's a unique answer. I didn't even expect that one.
I was playing football, you know, but yeah, that was pretty good. I was pretty good.
I was good at engineer drafting. I was gonna go into school for drafting blueprints and designing homes and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been a writer or a journalist, I expect.
There you go.
Woo-hoo.
And I see that.
Yes.
I can see that too. You asked a lot of good questions earlier.
Yeah.
Reese.
Yeah.
Reese, he's a journalist.
Yeah. Is Charlie still with us?
There you go. Charlie
Weaver.
I think I'd have been a singer or a model.
Okay.
There you go.
Wasn't a modeling. You're right.
That's what I think. And then I think I would have been writing too.
Yeah.
I developed my writing with Maurice for a while, so I know what to do now with the write. So I think I'd have enjoyed that.
Okay.
Doing that.
Okay. Let's see. I think that might have been the last question because the rest of them I had to kind of throw out because they kind of coincided with what I was already going to ask. So they weren't too bad. I did have one more question. What is next from y'all? What can we expect next? I know we may get music. Y'all are working on that, but what else? What else might we see from you guys?
But for me, right now, I'm doing music solo by myself. Fernando Allen. It's something I've always wanted to do, but being in the group with all these great singers, come on. I tell these guys all the time, boy, it's like, and I go back to Spark of Love. I had to lead the song off. I'm like, man, y'all put me in front. I knew I had to come with my little part I had in the beginning of the song. I had to come with all these great singers coming behind me. I had to come with it, and I think I did my part on it.
I think so.
But right now, I'm doing solo stuff. So if y'all want to check me, you can go on any platform, Spotify, whatever. Punch in Fernando Allen, and you'll hear my music. Yeah,
Fernando Allen.
Y'all will hear my music that I have today. So that's what I'm doing now. But a special generation. Some music with us all together. I can't wait.
Can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
So I have some ideas and stuff that I've already been putting together to present to the guys. And I can't wait. So that, but what I want to say. I really want us to see us to do a documentary.
I
read an interview. It was like 2011 or 2014 where you guys mentioned a documentary, and I was going to ask, where is it? Call Steve Russell, get him to produce it.
I have a young man that I've been talking with him lately, but it turns out we were in his city when he was a kid, and we were at his church apparently. Us, Hammer, and a few other people. And he said, as everyone was walking out, he was looking to get an autograph, a picture or something. But everybody kept walking, hustle and bustle. So but I stopped and I turned around and I went back and I took a picture with him and signed an autograph for him. He said it meant so much to him that he wanted to be in the industry. So, but instead of being like a singer or anything, he wanted to make videos and shoot movies. So he just finished a movie and he sent it to me and I watched it and it was a great movie. And so I was thinking I haven't talked to the fellas yet about it, but I was thinking about approaching him, having him shoot it for us, the documentary. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be a blessing because things like that aren't just happenstance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things like that, that's God at work. So him being a little kid and me stopping and, and giving him that, because you never know who, when sometimes you can be, when you approach a small city like that, small town, those people might not ever meet somebody, that's out there or that's on the radio, on TV. So just that one little spark can start that fire inside of him. And I told him, all you have to do, you don't owe me anything. You just pay it forward. You do that for the next kid. You know what I'm saying? That's coming up. And he said he's been doing that. So I said, well, and we've been talking lately. And after watching the movie, I want the fellas to see the movie too. And then and just let's make a decision. And hey, I can talk to him and see if he wants to shoot this. But he's looking for his next idea now. It could be a movie. It could be a special generation movie. But it's just something that I haven't put into effect yet without being talking to my brothers first.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it.
I mean,
we have so much respect for each other, and like I said, we don't like anything rushed, but like I said, we just keep it how we are. We love each other, and I like what Maquet said. I have to present it to us, and that's just how we are.
Yeah.
I'm in, Quet.
Huh?
Let's do it. I'm in.
Okay, definitely. So what I'll do is I'll talk with him and see, because like I said, I'll have to send you guys the movie so you guys can check the movie out. It's it's like kind of like Steve's movie, but it's on a different on a different approach. And I like the kid. He's a real decent guy too. So I mean, I'll talk.
I knew Steve's making movies now. I don't know if I knew that.
Oh yeah,
Day One is the
Go
name
on
of Steve.
Tubi.
Yeah, it's called Day One.
Yeah, actually, go to my interview with Steve. We talk all about it.
That's what's
Day Ones. Yeah, Steve doing his thing.
Yeah, and the Trip documentary is on Tubi as well.
And I gotta talk to Steve because I'm trying to get in one of those roles.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So tell me, or let everybody know where they can find Special Generation on social media.
Well, I would say since everybody's on Instagram, you can go to Special Generation for Life, and we just try to keep it at one location. And we all have different Instagrams. I'll let everybody tell their different Instagrams. But anything you want to know about us, you can go on Instagram. It's Special Generation for Life.
Yes.
And see what we're doing. Yeah.
Mine is Maquet _ Special Generation on Instagram. Maquet Robinson on Facebook. And that's it,
I'm Fernando Allen on Instagram, on Facebook, Fernando Allen Carter.
Big Cheese.
Big Cheese, baby. Go check it out. Go check it out. And I'm the shortest guy in the group, and I'm Big Cheese, baby. No,
I like that.
Now, I'm not so interesting enough. I work in technology, but I'm not real savvy about my Instagram handle. But I just want to, and this segues into telling you where I am now. And so I've been pastoring for about the last 3 years, and it's nothing big. I'm just putting that context of what God has been doing in my life. And the church is called Born Again Tracy, which is here where I live. So you can go to www.bornagaintracy.org, and that'll actually take you to my Facebook page, and then you can communicate with me. But I'm all about bringing people into this wonderful life of serving the God that is so amazing. That's the primary driving force is just whatever I can be to be a vehicle to bring people to this great God. That's what my life will be absorbed about for the rest of my days. Now, whatever vehicle that, if it's music, yes, if it's a city councilman, yes, whatever it's going to be. That's the goal, though, is to preach the gospel and to bring people unto Him.
Amen.
Love it. Is
Love
Charlie Charlie, you still here?
Well, I go.
Okay.
My Instagram just Soul of Kendrick. Soul of Kendrick. And you'll find all what we're doing and stuff like that.
Yes.
Charlie? Charlie still there?
I think he's probably doing this thing right now.
Yeah, he's probably working like he's supposed to be.
He
I'm
does
here.
have a contract with him, so he got to do his thing.
Yeah, there he is. How can people? What's next for you, and how can people find you on social media?
Well, I'm not on social media at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to do anything right now on that. Because I'm trying to do something different. As I want to do movies. I want to write scripts and stuff like that, and so I'm into that point where I want to do that. But as of right now, I'm not into none of the social media, nothing like that. When they do like what we're doing now on the interview with you, that's what I would do. But right now, I'm not into it like that.
Okay. I want to thank you all for joining me on Check the Rhymes. It has been so much fun. Like I could probably talk to y'all like for hours, even though we have been talking for hours.
Yes.
I love it.
It's passed by so fast.
Some of that was just technical difficulties.
Right. But it was still fun.
My fault.
It's okay.
So y'all, when the new music is ready, or the movie, documentary, whatever it is, make sure you guys come back here to Check the Rhymes so we can talk all about it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having us.
And I want to one more thing, guys.
Okay.
I just want to. I mean, y'all probably like this guy, but I'm proud of y'all. You know, because this right here, man. You go at St. Petersburg, Florida, man. I remember us coming up, man, and doing our thing, man. And come on, there you go, Quinn. There you go. I mean, come on. So I just had to bring that out again.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm proud of that, and I know that I'm proud of that. You can't touch this.
Absolutely.
MC Hammer, Special Generation.
That's right.
Generational song, and it's still going.
Still going.
Yes.
It's still going. I'm proud of that. That's all.
I love it.